exactly. It starts. Sometimes it takes a second from when I push the button before it actually starts.
Right. Makes sense.
Oh, yeah, look, it started immediately. How fun. Hi, everybody. I'm doing something a little different from this live stream. I'm here with Joey.
I, I,
Hi,
I,
hi. I am. We decided to try a Derailed podcast live, just because. And
yeah.
because I figured just staring at the my MS Paint picture I usually have would be a bit boring, I decided to pull up a web browser and decided to just kind of give a visual for everything we talk about as we do it.
Yeah.
Joey, you want to talk about the subject?
So I think Jesse's going to need to explain his specific style of this because it's different than what I'm getting at. The
Okay.
whole thing I'm getting at here is my favorite games ever, and then my least favorite games ever. And Jesse's is actually a little bit more in depth
Yeah,
than that.
so what I did, and I didn't do a favorite, least favorite. I did a favorite and then a recommended, and I did it by genre, so it's not necessarily a top 10. It's just, here's a genre, here's a game I really like from that genre. Maybe not even 100% my favorite, because my favorite changes depending on my mood. And then a game I recommend from that genre, either because it's an interesting take on that genre, or it shows off that genre really well.
Nothing I've ever heard you say is more autistic. But this is easier for me. Let me just drive all the way around the whole building before I walk it.
Oh, yeah.
But that's good though. That means we get to hear more about your takes on these things.
Yeah.
That's always better.
Uh, Let me turn you up a little bit more, but yeah. It's just remember that when I say favorite, I'm not saying this is my absolute favorite of all time. I'm just generalizing that this is one of
It's
my
his
favorites.
absolute favorite. It's his absolute favorite.
Yeah.
Every single one he says, take it as gospel.
Oh yeah. Absolute gospel. And then the recommended may not always be the best games, but they are definitely usually, again, either interesting or easy to get into. That's what I was going for recommended.
Or gauge. So, did you want to start?
Sure, I'll start. Let's see. I've made a list here. My first game I have set up is the action game. And one of my favorite action games of all time, because it's just so friggin' awesome, would be Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Interesting pick. Okay.
And I picked Revengeance because for an action game, it does literally everything you want in an action game of just being go fight something and fight it in a really cool way. And honestly, for an action game, you really don't need much more.
Oh, and let's be real here. The big selling point for you is the memes.
Oh, the memes add to it. I love the memes
Right.
in this.
Oh, yeah.
This game is hilarious. And it's that kind of hilariousness that I love where it's taking itself super seriously. Kojima does that really good.
It's
Where it
great.
takes itself so seriously, but it's hilarious.
On a side note, can we notate that we've seen what happens when Kojima has no reins and it's a problem? Death
uh,
Stranding 1 was released and that was all what he wanted. And it's like, then he did, wait, director's cut. It's not that bad.
Kojima has George Lucas syndrome bad.
Oh, I don't like that you said that because it's true.
He may not be as bad as George Lucas, but he's got the syndrome.
Like, somebody who just, man, they literally buy candles that says my own parts.
But I mean, like, Metal Gear Rising has that really cool sword mode where you can precisely cut things, and then they do a lot of fun stuff
Oh,
with
yeah.
that.
Oh, 100%. I think that it's a crime that isn't in more games today.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
that should be just industry standard IMO.
yeah, something that where you do like live damage to the things you hit. Oh yeah.
Like, why the fuck wasn't that in, like, Yaiba or something? Like, these games that were, like, also about ninjas. I don't know. It seems, like, counterintuitive. But, yeah, no.
I feel like Mortal Kombat could really do a lot with that.
It could. I mean, it'd have to be an action game system, though, because they already had the live-action injury system in 9.
Kinda, but oh well.
For a fighting game, that's all you can get away with, because otherwise it just turns into Deadliest Warrior or Bushido Blade, and that is
That
not
game was kind of fun in its own way, but
I agree. I'm trying to say, like, they're different games, and we gotta make sure we keep them different games.
And then for a recommended game, I put down Hi-Fi Rush as my recommended game, simply because
Ooh,
it takes the action games and twists it in a way that's really interesting. The way, you don't get better at Hi-Fi Rush by fighting better so much as you do it by doing it better rhythmically.
yeah, no, you got to be good with your timing. You gotta be. If you're tone deaf, you're gonna have trouble.
Oh
I
yeah.
won't lie, but
I never noticed, but I have a slight delay on my controller, my monitor. I didn't realize that until I played this game. Had a lot of trouble with this game.
uh,
But, goddamn, is it so good. Both the games I've recommended for action have fantastic music.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. The big thing is, like, Metal Gear Rising was so good. If you remember back in high school, I actually wrote up a paper about how good the music was by itself, and that's just a fact.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not even in contention because Metal Gear Rising, by all the fans of Metal Gear, is recognized, while it's short, to be just an amazing game with amazing music, um, and a lot of memes, like so many memes.
I think that says something that's maybe not as valuable in some other genres, but definitely valuable in action games. Aesthetics are really nice in action games.
Agreed. Agreed.
It doesn't even
Uh,
necessarily have to be the music, but just like sometimes a really sick visual or something really aesthetic added to the action game could really help.
you know what? I can agree with that. A big thing with most action games that, like, don't have aesthetically focused anything, they tend to lose out on a major part of the action game fan base because of it. Like, because the action game fan base is built around Devil May Cry, and Devil May Cry is known for having a ridiculously goofy uh, aesthetic. So yeah, no, I totally agree.
Especially in the case of both Bayonetta and Devil May Cry, the moves you do in those games are so sick. Like
Yeah, like,
Dante
they make
doesn't
no
just
sense.
shoot a guy once; he spins around repeatedly like a top shooting people.
Yeah, it makes no sense, but, like, it looks good, and that's kind of the focus, is to make it feel good to play. And if you didn't know, and I think this might be in the games that have it, like the style bar, right?
Yeah.
So in games that have that, it changes your combo the higher it is,
Oh yeah.
and that also makes it feel good to do better. So
Because it
I just think,
encourages you to change your moves up, which changes the visuals to not look so stale, which then kind of creates a feedback loop of feel good.
yeah,
Fine, if you
it's kind
play
of why
well. If you're
I'm
not playing well, it starts
like.
to kind of negative feedback loop. But yeah, there's a whole discussion we can have on that.
I mean, yeah, it depends. Like, I mean, that's a separate discussion. But yeah, no, Metal Gear Rising, good choice.
All right. Got anything from your list you want to talk about?
Let me pull up the list. I have your stream up, so
Oh, I wasn't even doing the whole Google thing. You see, I'm not used to this.
yeah, no, I was like, it's just, dude.
You gotta
I was
remind me
gonna
if
say
I'm not
something.
doing that.
Yeah, I thought that was intentional. I thought it was by design.
No. I just
Um,
started talking and didn't stop thinking.
so I got my honorable mentions, and I have about 10 more. So my first honorable mention is Metal Gear Solid 4 for my favorites list. That's an honorable mention, Because it was a hop and a skip away from being perfect, and they didn't make it perfect. I'll explain what I mean. So it feels like it's meant to wrap up all of the previous games until 5 came out, which that's a whole other bag of worms. But the stealth gameplay in the Metal Gear styled games outside of 5, which is a game, as I said, uh, I think that futurizing the feel that you get in 3 was what 4 did super well. So three's whole thing was you need to consistently change your camouflage to make sure you blend in with where your environment is. And honestly, that can get tedious after a while because like there are some places where it's like grass, leaves, tree, grass, rocks immediately after each other. But like this one, Octocamo is so seamless. The various ways you can take out your enemies again is seamless. The nods to the previous games are seamless. The memes in this one are also very strong. I think we had, if I'm saying it's an honorable mention, another reason is because their cutscenes are just too fucking long. It's just too fucking long. It has the longest cutscene in video game history. For anybody who doesn't know, it's over an hour long.
I think for some people, they kind of love that, though.
I know, but like any cutscene that's over an hour long, like if I wanted to watch a movie of just exposition on one thing, I'd shoot myself. Because I like, if you think about it, you've just watched a movie about exposition on one thing.
Yo,
That's
it's
it.
weird
All you
because
want.
I was told the 2-hour movie's at the very end of the game, and I'm thinking to myself, you could have just made a movie separately if it's at the end of the game.
Yes. You know what they've released alongside this game? The Metal Gear Solid database. You know what they do in the Metal Gear Solid database? They lock a certain piece of material behind a wall until you beat 4 on your console. I actually really like the Metal Gear Solid 4 database, but it's literally the most comprehensive Metal Gear Solid like system I've ever seen. But they could have put some of the shit in there. Like the specific exposition that you could cut out, you could leave in there. And everybody would be like, oh, cool. And it wouldn't have taken away. In fact, it would have added because it wouldn't have been so long that people disengage. Because when you have too long an exposition talk, it disengages people. And that's probably the biggest reason it's only on honorable mentions, even though it's my favorite Metal Gear game to play because of the warlock.
Well, you know, playing and fun to play and fun to sit through the story are two separate things. That's why the newest Fire Emblem is so mid.
Yeah,
fun to play,
God.
probably the best to play in a while. But oof, is that story terrible?
I 100% agree. Dude, like I thought, like Three Houses was such a high though.
Well, Three Houses is kind of the opposite. The story is so good, but that gameplay is so grindy.
Oh, it's grindy, but not in the DLC. Let's defend the DLC on that one because basically that DLC is hard as balls, dude. Like they don't give no fucks. They're just like, no, we're gonna send endgame units at you when you're under leveled because we're gonna stick you at the level. You don't get to be the level you're at. Go fuck yourself. But I digress. Metal Gear Solid 4 is on my honorable mentions. I'll go through like 2 more honorable mentions because I have the full least favorites list, 10 on each, and the honorable mentions I want to just get through. So I won't kill them all. I'm just going to go through 2 more, and then I'm going to jump back to you. Let you.
Okay.
Super Paper Mario. Now, it's my favorite Paper Mario game specifically because the game is still exceptionally fun to play. It still has RPG elements in it. It feels like Mario, and it feels like the finality of like the story they started in Paper. Like it feels like the ending because like how do you go further than destroying universes? And the story's actually really freaking good in this game, right? It's honestly the best one I've seen in the Paper Mario game. Now the downsides are your kind of like Crystal Stars situation. they're sentient in this game, but you don't emote with them, right? And that's kind of egregious to me because, like with the Crystal Stars and Thousand Year Door, at the very least, they weren't sentient, so there was no reason for them to talk to you. There was no reason for them to add something to the game's conversation experience. But all of the pixels are, and it's a little bit fucking stupid that they would not have them talk to you, right? That's numero uno for one of the issues that keeps this in honorable mentions. That's story wise, that's a gap, and a gap that's left pretty heavily because they could have had like been a big play on with TP. The other one is there needs to be a better post game in this game. Like it's got a great all around game. Even the Space Voyager section where it's a little confusing sometimes, like it's still really fun and it changes up the gameplay. But the post game is like they gave us a post game and they gave it nothing. Like you collect a robot TP. I don't get to go and see the two, which is a big thing I would have loved to do. Is like, okay, can I go visit their land? Can I go see what they're doing? Can I go say hi to them now that they're both together and see them in human form? That would have been what I would do. Even if you locked it behind a high-end completion rate, it's fine. You know, if Final Fantasy X-2 can get away with that shit,
we can get on post-game all that freaking dark pit of 100 trials that you have to do twice.
I mean, I don't get mad at challenge modes in Mario games because they're Mario game challenge.
My problem is when you get to the end and they're like, okay, now do it again. And then it's like, oh okay.
I mean, I guess. If it was a turn-based one, that frustrates me a little more because you're stuck not moving the entire time. But like that's why I prefer this pit to the 1000 because like.
See, this is another game I think based like we just said on this one's story is great. I do appreciate the story a lot. I don't like the gameplay. I think it's lesser platformer Mario.
I think it's a solid platformer and it's a variation on
solid is not what I go to Mario for on platforming.
Well, Mario mostly is just a solid platformer. Unless you go to like Odyssey. Unless you go to Odyssey. Like, tell me about how good the bloodless modes are in Mario Sunshine.
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah? Yeah, is that your opinion?
Yeah. Get
scrub. Well, I guess that you just like glitchy Mario.
Okay, that's a glitch, not
the mode itself is. Hold on. The mode itself is glitchy because of the way that they kept his momentum. They didn't change his system when they put him in that mode, and that's their fault, not mine. And because of that, he interacts with the environment incorrectly. And they should have looked for that because it's Nintendo.
I'm sorry, I got distracted by this this commercial I just pulled up. Hold on, let me. Sorry, let me listen to this.
Sorry, what about
Help!
What the heck is this?
Mario's
I love it.
A new adventure. He has new friends with special abilities.
That's an amazing commercial.
With funky
what the fuck?
What will he save the princess?
Dude, now you didn't get copyright struck, you idiot.
Mario!
I don't think I'll get copyright struck for this. This thing is old.
Oh my god, it's Nintendo, dude.
Yeah.
They heard like a second of Mario's theme and they're like, fuck them. In the butt.
Alright, what's your next game?
The next game is Batman Arkham City, which is my add-on from the Arkham series. It's my favorite of the Arkham games. It's a damn near perfect game, but the only thing keeping it shorter on this list is it wasn't the one that opened up Gotham as a whole. Because if this game with its story opened up Gotham as a whole and had that story, I would have put it on my top. But that's all that's keeping it from. So like this one's probably one of the closest ones to being in my top 10, just because it's a nearly perfect game.
I I love the Arkham Cities because it gives such a great detailed look at the Batman as a whole.
Oh my gosh.
The,
Like, even
the
Origins,
details are just amazing in these games.
100%. They hide so many little Easter eggs in the world. Like, anybody who hasn't played Arkham City, there are certain segments in the game that Azrael will be watching, and you can see him watching, and you know he's watching you by the time you get to Arkham Knight, because you find the photos of where he took pictures of you, and he's there when you look in Arkham City. What a fucking power play! That's great in-world continuity.
Oh,
That's really good.
That whole Hush side quest was absolutely insane.
Dude, I love Professor Pig.
Pig was great.
Well, because Pig is honestly, he's not a Batman villain. He's literally just a hero, and that's so creepy in a world where Batman fights people that are crazy, sure, but like they're comic book, right?
Right.
They all have that vibe. Even the Joker is comic book. Pig is a fucking realistic serial killer, and it's terrifying. I also think that everybody. So if anybody didn't know, continuity wise, Arkham is in the same universe as Suicide Squad. The people who made Suicide Squad and the people who made Arkham are different people. It's just the same company, but the people who made Arkham left the company after night. That's if you want to look for a reason why the continuity seems to be off, like they turned Freeze into a woman now, I guess. It could be their daughter, but like she was frozen. How? They are talking about bringing back the League, but the biggest issue with it is they never explained how the League came to be. I think that's the biggest crime. Is I'm like, we have 5 years here where we thought that where Batman faked his death, and then he just has been in the Justice League and is getting killed. What the fuck?
I feel like doing the Suicide Squad like that in that universe without doing a Justice League game first is so weird.
I think even just a meetup game. Like, I think you start with a team up. I think you make other characters first game first, by the way. We don't want to do the DCEU bullshit where they introduced Batman in a Superman crossover. What a dumb decision. And Wonder Woman in a Batman crossover, in a Superman crossover. What fucking stupid. And then you introduce Aquaman.
Listen, if we go into Suicide Squad, we're gonna be here all day.
That's true. But yeah, no, Batman Arkham City is very close to a top 10. With that, I will yield the floor back to you. What is your next one?
Okay, so my next game. So now we're getting to the adventure games, and it's kind of weird separating action and adventure games because usually they get like mashed together so well. So
yeah, it's easy to make games like that and just say it's that.
And the two games I have on here would be described as action adventure, but I'm putting these games down, the games that I think have more adventure than action in them, or at least you would play them more for the adventure than the action.
Right.
And you know what I would describe as an adventure game would be any game with a focus on exploring the world. You know, looking around the world, finding stuff, whatever. You know, you could count a Metroidvania as an adventure game, and you know what? I would.
That's true.
But, the first game, my favorite one that I have is Okami.
Oh,
and
man.
I've been live streaming this game, so, you know I've been saying a lot of what I like about this game. One thing I want to say about adventure games, and this is similar to what I like about action games, is that aesthetic is kind of important for an adventure game. Because if you're searching through a boring-ass world with nothing interesting in it, it kind of really wears on you.
Yes, he changed the visual.
change the visual. Thank you. Yeah, see? You've helped me.
Yeah. Oh, after you told me that's what you wanted, yeah.
See, that is exactly what I wanted. Freaking.
Buy this car! Buy it.
Next time I'm gonna remember to put ad block on Chrome. I use Chrome because I don't actually use Chrome, so like it's clean. There's none of my I have no chance of accidentally showing any of my private life on it. No porn accidentally sent onto it. No. Anyways, so
Well, at least we know now.
I think one of the things I like Okami so much is that there's just so many like secrets throughout the world. Like I don't think there's too much empty. As big as the world is, there's actually not that much empty space. They usually fill it with something that's worth grabbing.
Give me a second, because I'm gonna think for a second and see if I can find out any in my mind, because I think the woodcutter's like holding area across the water.
Yeah.
From like that's like the only spot in the initial area. I think that's the only spot that like has no real use.
No, you can talk to the woodcutter and give vases to gifts.
Right, but he's across the pond. Like he's not over there with the other stuff. That's a whole area.
Oh well, he's there at the beginning. No. That's where you can talk and meet him.
No, you meet him in his house.
I'm trying to think.
Yep, you meet him in his house in the initial area right before you go and grab.
I'm trying to think of what you mean, like by woodcutter's area.
It's over by the water area with the waterfall where you get meat.
Oh, you mean the
Lock cutter.
the lock club? I'm trying to think. I have no idea what you're talking. Well, it doesn't matter.
It's the only one I can think of. Was my point there? Is that's not a lot. That's one in a world that's actually for a PS2 game ridiculously robust.
Ridiculously good looking too. You know, even if I would say even if you found nothing, sometimes you could just found like a really good visual.
I mean, the big thing to note here is the game has various things that can add to the world, like fun fact, put the brush on, poke hole in the sky, you make a shooting star.
You went a little quiet there, Joey.
Something that people can keep in mind is if you put the brush on, put a hole on the sky, you make a shooting star.
Yeah.
Why? Who gives a fuck? You did it. You can make a bunch. It's super cool. You can do the same thing with the ground and the trees.
There's a lot of stuff you can just explore using the brush.
Yep.
I don't want to say it later on, but there's like secret maneuvers you can do.
That's true.
That isn't explained. One of which isn't even explained in the game. You have to pay attention to something and then remember it for way later to even realize you could do something.
Oh, and I'm sure you'll do it in your podcast.
Oh, I will. That's why I'm not saying it right now.
Yeah.
But that kind of thing of remembering something and then doing it without ever being told goes into what my recommended game is. And that is the game Tunic. Have you ever played this game or seen this game? Tunic? Yeah.
I played a little bit. I think it's pretty good.
This game I would recommend for the most adventure. I can't say this game is super good. Some people might get really annoyed by this game, but I think for the sake of adventure, this is the most adventure game to ever adventure. And the reason,
if I were to sit and think about it, like it might come down to personal preference, because like playing it felt very adventure-y. You're right. Is it the most adventure game I've played or you've played? I don't think so.
Probably, but I think the reason why I think of this is because just figuring out the mechanics of the game is kind of an adventure in and of itself. Because there's a lot of... This game is very Metroidvania in its setup where you explore the world, find power-ups, and then use those power-ups to explore the world further. The thing is, a lot of the power-ups you discover are stuff and shortcuts you discover is stuff you could already do. You just didn't know you could do it.
So D&D rules.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like, because one of the major things in this game is the game manual. The game manual is found throughout the adventure. Throughout the adventure, you can find pieces of the game manual. And the game manual will explain how to play the game, and there's a lot of stuff. Oh, hold on. Actually, let me pull up the Tunic trailer. That might be important.
Sorry, I was thinking about Tunic. I was trying to think of a response because I'm like, I mean, that's an interesting system.
Like one of the major things is one of the major things is the prey mechanic, right? That I learned early on. You can activate the prey mechanic by holding 2 buttons down at the same time and holding it. And praying is used to unlock your fast travel. It's used to unlock certain stone stuff. You wouldn't think you can do that until you either were messing around with the buttons and accidentally discovered it, or you found the slip that tells you can do this. And if I were to like play the game immediately with the knowledge that I could do this, I could skip huge chunks of the game. Like, you could skip the sword pretty easily if you know what you're doing. But when you first boot up the game, you probably wouldn't think about what you can do without the sword because the game hasn't told you yet. Or you haven't tried to do stuff. Like, you just saw how he removed that block right there. Those blocks are throughout the entire game. You have to pray them away to activate them. And if you saw that block, you'd be like, what the fuck do I do here? And you'd be like, well, maybe I need an item later, because there are items that you can grab later, like this orb and stuff, that you do need to do stuff. But other times it's just, maybe you haven't thought of what you need to do this.
Right. So what you're basically saying is this is a very big adventure game that you think of when you try to gain.
Yeah. And there's all sorts of, like, secrets to discover. Like, throughout the manual is, you see this weird language that they were just talking. Throughout the manual is a translation of the weird language throughout the stuff. And a big part of the game is figuring out the language and decoding parts of the manual that are in the language that'll tell you more secrets and more stuff. So there's so much like mystery just in the mechanics of the game that you need to explore. You need to explore the game to figure out more of the game so you can explore more of the game.
Right.
Different avenues of exploration lead to other different kinds of exploration, which lead to other kinds of exploration, which means this is probably the most adventure game to ever adventure.
I mean,
everything's an adventure, even figuring out how to do basic things.
To be fair, Baldur's Gate 3 exists.
Baldur's Gate 3 is neato, but you never need to do that kind of stuff in adventure and Baldur's Gate.
Right,
it's
but that's what
like,
makes an adventure.
There's a sense of like, yeah, it's neato if you can figure this out, but who cares? You don't have to.
I mean,
if you want to just charge in guns blazing in Baldur's Gate 3, you can.
Not always, and
I'm not saying one is better than the other. Because
I know. I'm just
saying.
Right.
Like I myself could only get through Tunic halfway because after a while I was like, this is too much. This is too much raw, unfiltered adventure.
I think that you're too harshly defining what adventure is. I think you're narrow. I think you have narrowed it down too far to where you've kind of lost a lot of other things that.
I've said adventure too much. It lost all meaning.
Yeah, but Baldur's Gate 3 is known as an adventure RPG. Like,
oh yeah, of course it's an adventure.
You can do it. You can do whatever the fuck you want, and it's literally more than any other game like we can think of that is outside of like D&D itself.
But I think with Baldur's Gate, I think of that game more RPG-y than.
Right, but you can be both, but adventure elements are, well, the adventure elements are not the RPG elements though. Like, there's a crab on the street. You can attack it. It's a fucking wizard.
Oh yeah, discover.
Why is it a wizard? What the fuck? It's a random crab on the beach when you first land there. How the fuck? What? And that's constant. That's adventure.
Oh yeah, of course.
I don't think Tunic is the most adventure-y one. I think it's just got a very non-handholdy system. And that's very welcome as a good adventure mechanic.
I think what my big differentiation is installing the sense of adventure into you, and I think that can really help with making a good adventure game. A game I've
I
also
agree.
been playing is
That's
Animal World, which
right.
does a lot of what Tunic does, but in a 2D game instead. And Baldur's Gate doesn't really force you to want to adventure. It's just like if you want to, you can, but if you don't want to, you can't. Tunic
That's
is
not
like
what adventure
adventure. This is you're gonna adventure. If you don't want to adventure, don't play this game.
That's not what adventure games are. And that's not what adventure is in general. Adventure is all about freedom of choice. Like otherwise, your adventure is separate to anything else you do because you do whatever you want.
I don't think it is
Baldur's
about freedom of choice. I
it,
think it's just about.
then what is D&D if not an
I think
adventure
it's
game
about
about freedom of
exploring
choice?
things, really.
Right,
And be it
by your choices.
mechanics or other stuff. But it doesn't necessarily have to be.
Your adventures are different every single time, and that's what makes the
Oh,
adventures
Tunic is
adventure.
different every. Not every time, but like you can
Do
do
you
things in
always get the
different
card?
orders and different like.
Does it, do you always have the same abilities and moves and things? Like when you play through the game the first time, you just know what to do the next time?
Yeah, you could have entirely different abilities if you do it in different order. Yeah.
Okay, so they're the same abilities then.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So it's just it's a good adventure game. I would not say that that's pinnacle adventure. I'd say, but like I'm using Baldur's Gate 3
But
here
I would
because that is
say
the
having
bar.
different abilities and using specifically your different abilities to explore the world is more of an RPG, like a role playing thing, than a specifically an adventure thing.
Untrue. You can do that in an adventure set.
I feel like that's more of an aspect of RPGs, is going through the world with your own abilities.
What is an adventure if not going on a new trip?
I don't know. Very
I
big
think
differentiates of what counts as an RPG and what counts as an adventure.
you could, well, first off, you could have both, but the elements in the RPG that are adventurous are more adventurous than the elements in the adventure game that are adventurous because one
Is it?
has
I don't
a
think
hundred.
so.
Yeah, hold on, let me finish. It has over like 100 times more options of what you can do in one for different
Options isn't
adventures.
for adventure.
Hold
That's for
on, hold on.
strategy.
No, you're incorrect. You're just incorrect. Hold on and let me finish. It's not for strategy. If I want to pick up a brain in the intro of my game that I didn't have to pick up or didn't even have to know existed the second time as a part of my adventure. It's not a strategic choice to hit the crab that I had mentioned earlier. It's just a fucking crab. It has no indication it's a wizard. There's no indication that me basically shaming a final boss will do anything to me later. There's avenues upon avenues of different adventure paths to go here outside of the RPG elements. But Unix is going to be similar every time you go through the game because it's a linear game. That's adventurous in terms of a linear experience.
Okay, it's not
I
the most
agree.
adventure game. God forbid I use a little exaggeration to make things more interesting, Joey.
The most adventurous game ever. A little exaggerated.
Yeah, I love doing that. But then you gotta get all offended by my word choices and be like, oh, I got a more
I'm holding you
adventurous game for
Jesse,
you.
you know what? I'm holding you accountable, okay? Because somebody has to.
When it comes to
Okay.
opinions, you don't have to hold shit accountable.
That's man. I'm gonna quote you on that later. Oh boy. Oh, you gave me a 12 gauge slug.
Being
Okay.
objectionably wrong during an opinion, you can hold people accountable.
Well, I mean, I think my major issue wasn't with the fact that you said it was the most adventurous game after all, because I did say, I'm like, it's a very good adventure game. I think it was that you just kept on saying no strategy and RPG elements when it was about adventuring. I'm like, what? I think that's what got me more than anything. I'm like, you are. God, what flavor is that Kool-Aid, man? But yeah, no, I think bottom line is like, yeah, no, I think Tunic is a really fun game. I
No, it's a
think
good game.
it's a real.
Okay, so what horrible games you've got next, Joey?
I actually do have ones that people would think aren't pretty good. Well, there's one that people like.
Oh, trust me. Before you say anything, one of the games I have later on, you're gonna really hate.
It's a Thousand Year Door.
No.
Oh, I was just trying to guess on what you think I hate. Um, so I'm still on the honorable mentions. I'm probably going to raise the number of them because otherwise I'm going to be talking at the end the entire time. And I don't want that. Like trying to catch up. Like that's going to be a problem, right?
To be fair,
So
I didn't even know you had honorable mentions. That's like a step beyond what I thought you should have done.
I'd mentioned it to you. I said I have honorable mentions, top 10 favorite, and top 10
Okay,
least
well, I
favorite.
thought you would just speed through them real quick.
I mean, they all are good. Right? It's kind of like when you went over to Tunic.
Okay, here's what we should do. How about you just spitfire your all your honorable mentions right now?
All right, we'll do a little summary of them too. Tomba 1, which they just remade or remastered. Remastered. Very good game. Klonoa 2. Very, very fun game. Zone of the Enders 1. More sentimental than anything. Because it's fucking short as shit. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX. I think it's one of the best versions of a Mystery Dungeon game I've ever seen. The art style is just phenomenal. Digimon Cyber Sleuth, but specifically the collection because it gives you all the fucking DLC and it gives you 2 games because that's just about yeah. If you get them singularly, you're Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's the best Smash Brothers game. Melee was really fun, and there's a lot of janky shit you can do, but Ultimate gave you the full pack. Just that. A little bit of an unknown game called Eternal Alliance. All right, we'll take no question. Yu-Gi-Oh! Fallsbound Kingdom.
I need to get back on
Lord
my
of-
streams on that. I just felt the need to stream other games because I just got to
Well,
streaming.
just go
and
Okami.
Yeah.
Finish up Okami first and then jump to it. I don't know. Lord of the Rings, The Third Age, and The Legend of Zelda, the GameCube game. So, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. So that's my
My
list
God,
of.
you tried to sneak a double into the honorable mentions right there. Good God, Joey, you were gonna take a while.
I mean, yeah, that's man. I told you this was like a big thing I was doing.
I know, but we could have also done like multiple episodes. You know, maybe split some off and make another top 10 for games that aren't those first top 10, and then talk about those later.
I don't have 10 least favorite games. I only have 6 in my least favorite games because there's only 6 games I've ever played that are that bad. like to completion. Like I'm very picky. If it's bad, I'll put it down. So I'll actually talk about those because they won't take long for all except a couple. There's one on here that's going to piss some people off, though. I just looked. Oh, that's going to piss a lot of people off. Oh, no. I haven't looked at this list in 6 months.
Oh my God, you've been working on it this long. You only suggested this 2 weeks ago. So
I know. Because I had it in reserve just in case I wanted to do it. So let's start with one that nobody really gives a shit about. Right? Digimon All-Star Battle. It's a PS3 exclusive. It's meant to be a spiritual successor to Digimon Rumble Arena. It's really fucking bad. Not much more needs to be said, other than the fact that it brings back all the slippery controls. The Digivolution system is really, really wonky.
Sorry, what was the name of the game?
Digimon All-Star Battle. It came out around like right after. I think it was the next game. No, next game in America though, after World 4. So like what we're looking at here is nothing good. I mean,
That era of
honestly,
Digimon really suffered.
yeah, it was rough here. It was
Oh,
good
this
there.
looks like World War. Ooh.
Yeah, it's not great. It's pretty bad.
I mean, I think a fighting game with Digimon wasn't like an awful idea.
No, they made a good one. They made a Rumble Arena 2 for I believe the GameCube, and it was good. People liked it. And then they just stopped. And I know what happened. They started making really good ones for Game Boy Advance. Battle Spirit 1 and 2 specifically. Um and then whoever took over just shat the bed. But I don't really have much more to say about this one. At all. It can go kick rocks. I hate it. Bad. That's probably one of the ones I have the least to say about it. All the other ones on here, all the other five, I have a little bit more to talk about with. Let's jump over.
Tell me an actual like favorite on your favorite list.
Okay.
Give me a favorite.
So I'm going down the list. So Gungrave Overdose specifically. I like it because it's a fucking zombie mafia assassin dude, and the game feels really clunky in a good way. It's basically just Anime Max Payne with kooky anime shit in it. It's really fun. I think they did Gungrave Gore dirty. I think it's still a fun game. It's got the Duke Nukem Forever issue where they just kept the mechanics of Duke Nukem 3D and put it into Duke Nukem Forever. If you ever noticed, like play them back to back, they play exactly the same. It's the same thing with Gungrave Gore and Gungrave Overdose. Gungrave Overdose is a fun game on the PS2, but Gungrave Gore is on the PS4 and 5. What the fuck is happening? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Gungrave Overdose also has a really good anime base around it that was done by a really good company. It was the same people who did Trigun, who did Hellsing, who did One Punch Man. It was Studio Madhouse. It's all around a good series, even, but specifically Overdose is the highlight of the series. It's really fun, really high action, really goofy. I don't really have much more to say about it. It kind of speaks for itself in the gameplay too, because it's a pretty simple game to play. It's just run and gun, you know.
This trailer is awful.
Oh, I'm sure it looks like Vaseline, doesn't it?
I just checked.
Yeah,
Is
no.
my computer working right? Yeah, it's working right. It's just the video is terrible.
Yeah, but the game's good.
Oh,
Game's
yeah.
really good.
I mean, from what little I can see, it looks very action-packed and awesome.
Yeah, no. I mean, I keep in mind some of mine on my list are going to be one. Well, looking at my list, there are ones on here that are obvious, and there are ones that are here. Just
Okay. So you done with Gungrave?
Oh yeah.
Alright. So next is
Yeah.
my favorite shooter. And this one is definitely more of which people want from each shooter is very different. But my favorite shooter and will
Call of Duty.
No, it's Titanfall 2.
Wow, you're a basic bitch.
Oh,
You basic as fuck. You basic as fuck.
Listen.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. I'm giving them shit, but like
be
Titanfall 2 is very good.
Hold on. First of all, Titanfall 2, you call it basic, but I have yet to see another shooter quite like it. So I honestly bite me.
Apex Legends.
No, actually, even Apex is lacking in a lot of the stuff that Titanfall 2 does.
Advanced Warfare literally ripped Titanfall. It's the same
It
shooter
ripped,
almost.
but
It's just
still didn't
different.
quite do it quite as like what Titanfall 2 did. Like
Tier
even the
2 also
games that
has
are like
Titanfall.
similar to Titanfall 2 don't quite have as good movement. They don't have as good gun and play. They don't have the fucking Titans, which
I
are
think the gunplay was
awesome.
the weak part of Titanfall 2. I think the gunplay was the weak part.
So the gunplay works with the
You get
movement.
shot.
And Joey, are you still salty over the last one? Tell
No,
it to me true because you're being very you're being very
no,
hostile right now.
This is what it sounds like when you talk to me when you're being trolling. That's
Okay.
all I'm doing.
Okay, so he's still salty over Tunic. Gotcha. Anyways,
Oh,
anyways, so Titanfall 2 is just one of those games that does everything super well compared to a lot of other games. When you're running, the fact that you're running and gunning with parkour like that completely changes a lot of things. One of the big problems that, like, say you would have in like Halo or say Call of Duty is, say, a sniper shooting at you and there's nothing you can do to stop him because snipers are cracked like that. Well, the way you can move and stuff gives you so many different angles of attack. You can jump a sniper super easily, and jump a sniper super easily. Point where snipers are actually one of the worst weapons in this game. And just by adding the movement changes so much. Precision weaponry becomes a little less effective compared to, say, weaponry that fires rapidly because opponents become so much more harder to hit. You can't hit people easily, so effective spraying becomes a little bit more effective than, say, precision shooting.
legit question.
Positioning also becomes very important because you can attack and come from just about anywhere. Oh, sorry, question.
So, is it like a pro con when because like what you're saying, it's lost a key element that's overused in shooters, mind you. I do want to say sniping is overused in shooters. It is. Everybody listening, it's fucking overdone. It's been overdone since Halo. It's fucking stupid. That it has so much power over the map. Spraying also was like the secondary choice, right? So like if we're lowering the bar for like the power of sniping, which is good, but we're heightening the bar of spraying, which was already pretty high, would that be a different is just another gun replacing the sniper as like OP?
So, what I mean by spraying is you don't have to be super accurate with your shot. In a lot of games like Halo or Call of Duty,
Right.
you need to be accurate with your shots, even when you're using like a machine gun or like a grenade or something,
Yeah,
because
I guess.
hitting
Yeah.
your opponent is so much more valuable. In this game, you need to hit your opponent, but your opponents are moving so fast that it's kind of unrealistic to use, like, say, a grenade to hit somebody or a sniper shot, something slower. You need to shoot fast, which means
It's more like, yeah, I get it. You got to do those Space Invaders tactics. Shoot
yes.
more of it.
And there is still a reflex aspect to it, but I think more importantly to the reflex or even the spraying is the positioning aspect of it, because obviously if you charge somebody straight on, you're gonna get shot. But the way you're jumping around, like on Attack on Titan, you can move about basically that fast. Means that it's more about the positioning, what route you take to get to your opponent. Because if they see you coming, they're gonna just shoot the shit out of you like any other shooter. And if you can get the jump on them, obviously so much better. They can't really dodge you if they don't see you coming. But being able to dodge the bullets is also super good. If you and your opponent start shooting at each other, whoever dodges, it's not whoever has the fastest reflexes, it's whoever dodges better that usually wins.
That's true. That's true.
And this all gets flipped on its head when the Titans are involved. Because the Titans are the opposite. They're slow, they're big, they're a bit easy to hit, and that's when the precision and sniping aspects come in. Because when you're in the Titan, you're both a big, slow-moving target that can't be hurt unless hit in a specific spot or snuck up upon. Most of the weaponry that hurts Titans is very slow, very precise. Like, even the rocket launchers are basically snipers. And when you're in the Titan, you're not going to realistically chase down players. You're going to have to, like, very precisely shoot them. And and you can see that a lot with the Titan loadouts. My Titan of choice, the Legion Titan, which is the biggest, most powerful Titan, with a minigun, it seems like it's spray and pray, but its ultimate makes all of its machine gun fire lock on and home in on people, like instant kill things. It's probably the best ultimate, and its alt fire reduces the spray of the minigun in exchange for power, indicating that yes, even with the most spray and pray Titan, there's a level of precision you need when it comes to the Titans, because fighting Titans is more of a precise matter than it is a moving and jiving matter like it is on the foot. Which means no matter which kind of gameplay you prefer, you can kind of get that in Titanfall. Whichever one you like, more of a slower, precise gameplay or faster, imprecise gameplay, you've got both of them. You get both of them. Because hitting a pilot, the player characters are called pilots. A pilot outside of their Titan, inside a Titan, requires a really strong amount of precision. Even like the area of effect Titan, the Flame Titan, I can't remember exactly what it's called, where you just like lay down a flamethrower, requires you to like position your fire so specifically and so accurately to know where it goes, because people can just jump over the fire super easily. So you have to be very precise with your area of effects and stuff. And I think that is really awesome. I think the fact that Titanfall 2 can kind of give you what you want, no matter what it is you want, and it does so in ways that's oftentimes better than any other game similar to it. I think a big part with Apex Legend is it has similar movement to
Jesse, I'm shitting with you. The reason I said that is because
Oh, I know you're shitting with me. I think the reason why Apex Legends kind of falls off on that is twofold. One, the maps aren't really set up for the parkour quite as well. They're very open in like large fields, which
the whole
which means a sniper is just gonna snipe you, and it's like, well.
The point of those is to be accessible, while Titanfall as a series isn't accessible.
I think that's a pitfall, though. Because I think Titanfall 2 kind of... Because one thing in Titanfall 2 that does really well is it does a Splatoon thing, where even if you're shit at the game, there are ads for the other team, like generic soldiers and like generic robots, that you can just go around and shoot and get points with, as long as you...
Right, but like...
So even if you're not good at the game, you can still participate and get good while practicing.
Right, Jesse, I'm not saying the game is like bad or anything. I'm notating like
bad. I'm just...
Right. I'm notating like the flaw in Titanfall 2.
Oh, I'm fine. Yeah. No.
We already acknowledged that Apex itself does not have a lot of the aspects that Titanfall 2 does, because of the fact that they pulled.
And I do agree that Apex I think Apex does do a lot for accessibility, but I think in a lot of ways it makes it more generic and kind of boring for me.
I mean,
like you'll hear a lot where people who play Titanfall 2 who go to Apex are like, "Wow, this game is not as good." You could feel the comparison.
Because it's meant to last a while, and that's what it does. I mean, the big thing to note here is like if you have
so here's the thing though. I can't think of many people who played Titanfall 2 who were like, wow, Titanfall 2 is not for me, I hate it. the reason why people didn't play Titanfall 2 is because it wasn't advertised and nobody knew it existed until it was already dead.
Right. So what I'm saying here, though, before you interrupted me, was I was saying Titanfall 2 itself has its own type of niche fan base, which would have probably been more akin to a, let's be generous, a Battlefield 4, right? Where like they still have millions of people play today.
Yeah.
In that hypothetical.
Well, I think
Apex, right. Apex is different in that it would have hundreds of millions of people playing because of the style it's in, which is easily digestible content that is in the MOBA-esque market, or sorry, the Overwatch TF2-esque market of characterized fan bases where they need specific types of characters to mascot around, and loadouts that are pre-built for them, instead of a game that would be more akin to a Battlefield, which is basically a game that has a lot of depth in the gameplay. There's not really a face to your character other than the one you make, right?
And I think that's kind of a shame. That really makes me want to put on my Elite Distant thing and say, God, man, you filthy fucking casuals, play a good game. It really makes me want to say it. And I know accessibility is important in video games. I know this. I know that Apex is good at what it does. But damn it, what it does is so mediocre.
I think we shouldn't be mad about what you're saying.
I shouldn't be mad. I know I shouldn't be mad.
Hold on, because I'm going to say what a better idea to be mad at. Be mad at the company that produced both games, and be mad at how they handled not like you could have created Apex with half of the game, and worked on Titanfall 2 with half of the game, and then maybe even, hey, hypothetically, merge them together in Titanfall 3 and made a multiplayer with Apex.
Honestly, with Apex, if they had with Apex, it's weird because a lot of the movement is similar. It's a little dumbed down, but it's very similar. If they
pulled the team from Titanfall 2 for it, so yeah, it should be.
It's similar, but a little dumbed down. If they had maps that could take better advantage of the movement, I think it would be a lot more better, because I look at some of the firefights in Apex. The best firefights are the ones like around and in big buildings that you can wall jump and do all the crazy maneuvers on. Those are usually where the best firefights in Apex are.
I mean, running and maneuvering for firefights are big, but nothing gets bigger clips than sniping shots. It's just how it is.
Well, you know, that comes into my recommended section. You know what? I'm going into my recommended section on this. Do you know what the most satisfying weapon is, Joey?
Gotcha.
It's the sniper, which is why my recommended is Sniper Elite 4. Because
I'm a fan of Sniper Elite. I just don't like the firefight mechanics they have, but they didn't build it around doing that, so that's fair.
Well, I recommend Sniper Elite, not because it's the best shooter, but because if you really want to know get that really raw, good feeling of the perfect shot, or a good shot is, Sniper Elite is really good at that. Just getting that, like, really good shot off, and just really good. It's very good at that one specific kind of gunplay, which is what you look for in shooters, good gunplay, or good shooting. And, you know, the firefights when you're not using the sniper is mid, and the stealth segments are mid. But when you finally get to the point where you're using your sniper and sniping people, that is some good, like, condensed shooter goodness. That's really good condensed shooter goodness. Pure shooter goodness. And we talked a lot about Titanfall 2, so I'm not going to talk too much more about Sniper Elite 4. Just, if you don't know what makes shooters good, and you want to feel that shooter goodness, Sniper Elite series are short, they're not very long, and they'll get you what you want to do to see what shooters are like pretty quickly.
I can agree with the current audience for that.
Because like if you try to do Apex Legends, you're just gonna get sniped from a distance before you can even pick up a decent weapon,
Oh,
and then be
hold
like,
on,
"What the
because I
fuck is going on?"
actually Apex actually has a solid training area. Like
It does
that
have a good
actually
training
gives you a
area, but
spot.
once you actually get into the game, you're just gonna get just gonna get
No,
shit
no,
on.
I think that of the 3 or 4 big ones, I guess, Valorant is probably the worst
Oh,
in terms of giving you what you need to succeed. Although those little mob things are fun and cute, but like that's neither here nor there. Apex gives you an area to practice your skills, which is what they all should do, and they don't. And that's
every online game needs that.
everyone needs that, and I think that that's something that they had on launch. They had that on launch, Jesse, and that was because they pulled the team from Titanfall 2, and they're good at making things.
They are good. Did you know they were making Titanfall 3 but canceled it because they had to work more on Apex?
Yeah,
Fuck, I heard
that's what
that.
I
I
was
was like,
getting at.
"Meh."
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
Um,
Let me get Sniper Elite 4 shot.
to have it when we talk about more Titanfall 2.
Just to show a little bit of what Sniper Elite does super well.
Just show shooting Hitler. That's what they do well. Yep, that's what they do well. Shooting Hitler. The only time when it feels better to shoot Hitler is in the new Colossus.
Hold on, let's see if I can get the shot. Yeah, here we go.
If you did not, by the way, I need to make a public service announcement. If you played Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus, and you did not take at least one of your lives to shoot Hitler in the fucking face, you are not an American. I hate you.
Oh yeah, look at that glorious headshot. The fact that you get the X-ray and can see where the bullet goes, showing that thing we talked about in the action series where you can see all the damage. All the damage.
The alternate universe where Cabela Hunters is just this.
Sometimes it doesn't always show the shots, though. Sometimes it only shows the good shots, which I think also really helps.
I mean, you know that this is basically just an altered version of the Cabela Big Hunter games. Shitty mechanic. Did you know that?
Oh yeah. Those games are good shooters too.
Yeah, I know. I played 04 all the time.
But like, the fact that it doesn't always do the camera every time you shot does make the times it does show the camera look really good.
I think that like they've gotten better with like because the crumple physics are obviously always just bullshit. But like what they get good at is like making alternate.
Oh wait, are we getting the ball shot? Are we getting the ball shot? Hold on. Yeah. Oh, the X-ray.
Demonetize Jesse.
All right, fine. You can X-ray see the balls explode if you want.
Yeah, it's true. Just take our word for it.
Anyways, all right, on to your section.
Okay, so I'm gonna do one least and one favorite.
Yeah.
This is the one that's gonna piss people off. Are you ready?
Ready.
One of my least favorite games is The Elder Scrolls.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to give a real good reason there, Joey. Like, I can see the line where you might hate it, but you're gonna have to say it.
Oh, it's gonna be easy. The game came pre-broken for me.
Oh yeah, because
comes
it's broken.
with all the bugs in the world. If anybody says just load it, that's fucking stupid. Why do I have to fix the game for them? Why does anybody have to fix the game for somebody? Hold on. I'm ranting now. You wanted this. You wanted this, Jesse.
No.
You wanted this.
Hold on, I do want to say one thing before you go on the rant.
Fine.
Apparently, and I was watching a video on this. Apparently, Bethesda has said that the reason why their games are so fucking glitchy is because they have to leave the programming open-ended to make it easier for modding. And that if they were to seal it up, it would make it harder to mod.
No, hold on. One fucking second. Okay. Not only is it hardcore pod bullshit, because if that was true, why did it happen back when nobody fucking modded anything? This is them covering their ass, like they always do, because they can't make a fucking game. They did Starfield, a shitty version of No Man's Sky, where you basically just have space with nothing in it, and then planets that are sometimes on the other side. What the fuck even? That's their newer game. They made a game their second MMO, but both of their MMOs actually on release. Elder Scrolls Online was a buggy, broken shit of a mess. And don't even get me started on Fallout 76. Fallout 4 was basically just a reskin of the prior games. They fixed some of the gameplay itself, but then they just lost a bunch of content in the world in response. And then we go to Fallout 3. Holy, can't shoot a gun, Batman. Why am I having to click the bats button every fucking place I go? And don't say I can mod it to fix it. I shouldn't have to fix their shit. I paid money for it already, you motherfuckers. It's fucking stupid that I would even have to consider that. Why the fuck do I have to be burdened with the responsibility of fixing their game? Adding things to make it more fun, sure, that's fine. But if I get a game and it's broken, then why then can I not say the game is bad? What the fuck kind of world do we live in where Oblivion is considered a good game? Play it vanilla, bitch. Play it vanilla and tell me how good the game is. Or maybe, just try to roll the penis out of your own ass and stop fucking yourself with it.
Golly, Oblivion's a shit game. Vanilla. There. Fucking dipshits.
That last one that just happened wasn't even a glitch. That was just... This one's not even a glitch. This is just a quirk.
It's just the game. And I mean, I haven't even gotten into the gameplay issues with it. The magic system is a piece of garbage. The combat itself feels janky and stiff as fuck. Let's not even get into the overt bloom effects. Like, I don't know who said let there be light and then just everything feels either like there's Vaseline on the screen or there's an overemphasis of bloom on the camera. Somebody put a flashlight in the fucking camera. But whoever did that needs to be shot. The designs of the weapons are good. Let's get to some good. Let's get to some good because I don't want to just yell at the game the entire time because it's one of my least favorites for a reason. I've made that clear.
You know, a lot of people like the lore in the game. You know, lore is pretty good.
Well, mainly it's best. It has one of the best DLCs in Elder Scrolls history. I can acknowledge that. In the concept of the Shivering Isles, I think it suffers from the same issues. Specifically, if we talk about choosing between the Duke and the Duchess, nothing changes if you pick one or the other. You just kill one or and then you go to the same endpoint. So, like, who fucking cares? Your flesh golem barely matters because, like, you can build this motherfucker in a cool system, but, like, you can't do anything. You just summon him and he does some things. But, like, you know what would be great? If we could do Pokemon pit fighting with these motherfuckers. That's a mod, I bet you. I just bought it. It has the best Dark Brotherhood storyline in any Elder Scrolls game. Aside from anything bad in this game, that is the best thing in this game. Their Dark Brotherhood storyline, if it's written in such a way you could expand it and make a game of it by itself. Their other DLC, the Crusaders, is tedium forever. You have to be a good boy no matter what, or you have to walk so far every time. What a tedious DLC. The hunting quests are okay, I guess. I mean, they're nothing to write home about. And like the side content, like the arena, had potential, but they didn't really fulfill it. The Mages Guild is useless. No point to it. What Mages
make
Guild?
Spells halfway through the game. Mages Guild.
Yeah, I mean, but a majority of the ones that would be any variety of use to you, you'll have to use endgame magic stuff. So like, it's gonna take you a while. It's tedious. And you can beat the whole guild without any magic anyway, so who gives a fuck? I think the Thieves Guild is really good. as well. I think the ending of it was garbage. I think the rest of it is great. I think it pulls. It's kind of like a easy way to, like, if you're not comfortable killing people in a video game yet, because some people do have that mental hang up. Like as the villain, mind you. An easy way to get comfortable, like doing crimes, is breaking in and stealing stuff.
Well, the Thieves Guild like actually punishes you if you kill people while doing it. So.
Yep. And the assassins, or the Dark Brotherhood, actually encourages you to find creative ways to kill people. Like, I ran up on somebody's allergies, and then I gave them their allergy. Smart. But bottom line is, the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, unlike 5, unlike 3, is an unfixably broken mess. 5 has a lot of issues.
I'm sorry, I just realized you tried to do a whole negative rant. I think I made the positive rant even longer than the negative rant.
Did you?
I think so. That's funny.
I had to find things. That's the thing, Jesse. I had to search for like singular objects in the cave.
That's fine. I'm letting the video do a lot of the heavy lifting work here. I just think it's funny I did that.
I mean, it's meme bait, that's for sure. I can't deny it. But the big thing is just it's unfinished, and it feels like it's unfinished. And there's a reason people like 3 and people like 5, although 5 is also very broken. 3 has a lot of excuses that I can fall back on. It's due early 2000 BC.
Okay, so what's your loved game? Liked game?
Mystical Ninja starring Goemon.
Oh, I like this one.
So, if you ever wanted a funnier, more action-oriented, multiple-player version of Mario 6, Mystical Ninja starring Goemon is for you. Not only does it feel about as responsive as Mario 60, like you have action fans that like are variable, like you can like shoot projectile weapon, or you can like have an upgradable weapon, which is a pipe, shoot people with a smoke pipe, or you can be a fat motherfucker and hit him with a meat stick, or you can be a ninja lady and hit him with an actual sword, or you can be a little ninja robot and hit him with a kunai. And the puzzles in the game are good. The world in the game is good. The music is phenomenal. Bosses are easy. Just to be clear, it's a game for kids, meant for kids. But it's very fun. A lot of parodies in this game. Specifically, what comes to mind is you gain a super mode and your hair literally goes Super Saiyan. And your robot is an actor. You have a giant robot. It looks like you. He's an actor. Pretty great.
I think one thing to mention is the villains are a bunch of stage actors trying to turn the world into a giant stage.
Oh, and one of the best things too is this isn't even the last game they made. They made one more game after this, and it was really good. It's actually a direct sequel in Japan, but we called it something different. I never got the chance to play that one because that one wasn't as highly circulated as this one. This one was probably the most circulated Goemon game in America. Like, they had one on the SNES, they had this one, and then and that was kind of the ones people knew.
The sequel to
this
one didn't come out, didn't it? In America,
huh?
at least. The sequel to this didn't come out in America.
No, it did. Goemon's Great Adventure came out in America. That was what it was called here.
Did it?
It just didn't get circulated very well. Yeah, it's unfortunate. The game itself is actually one of the best. I think the sequel, objectively, based upon what it is probably the best N64 game.
Oh yeah, they came out with a really serious version on the PS2.
No, they were going to. That tech demo. They never actually did.
Ugh.
Because that was also the GameCube they were working on at the same time, and unfortunately they just didn't do it. And I'm like, I wonder why. Nobody would have fucking liked you to be serious about this shit.
Because then they would have to deal with like Ishikawa Goemon's like really depressing story. Where how far are you in One Piece, Jeffrey?
I've started Egghead.
Okay, I can go over
I
this.
think for the sake of anyone who might be watching, maybe don't.
I'm gonna give a spoiler warning. Fine. Spoiler warning. Uh, turn the audio off, and Jesse will switch the video to another video once you can turn it back on. So in Wano, when they boil Kozuki Oden, that's directly referencing how they killed Goemon.
Yeah.
And they killed Goemon by boiling him in oil. They were throwing his kids in, and Goemon held his kids above his head until he died. And because of that, they gave them a stay of execution. All right, switch the video.
Okay. Before we move on, I definitely have to play this because I have to. We talk about Mystical Ninja Goemon.
Are you playing the theme song? Oh, no.
Yes. This. Because this is a segment in the game. It just happened.
Yeah, this is not. I love Gundam Wing. It's literally just a fucking mech intro.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they got a legit singer for this shit. That's what's crazy to me. They got a real singer.
On the N64, too. That was rare.
Well, the month. I mean, people don't know how popular this character was in Japan, but he was really high up there. Like, he came from an arcade game back in 1983.
Sorry, I love to get the children singing with it. It's so great.
I mean, he basically just got Gamera on the 64. And he's got his beating stick.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's pretty great. That's pretty great. I like that. I like most of the music in that game. It's all very nostalgic to me. It is, I believe, my favorite N64 game. Like, thinking about it, yeah, I think so. I have gone on for a while. It's your turn.
Alright, favorite RPG. Oh my god. RPG, there's going to be a lot to say about this.
Ogre Battle. It's Ogre Battle.
You could probably guess what mine is.
Maybe,
Because
maybe.
one of the reasons why I'm doing it this way is because I have trouble ordering what things I like, and it changes by the moment. However, my favorite game of all time, and I've always said this, no matter what, is Paper Mario Thousand Year Door.
Ah!
You are, in fact, a Gen Z.
I know. Shut up. Anyways, I'm in that weird nebulous area where it's like, man, I'm at the end of millennial, beginning of Gen Z, and it's hard to tell which one is which because I have traits from both.
But yeah, no, I mean, I would definitely accept this on a top RPG list for sure.
And
yeah.
So, there are two kinds of RPGs that are usually discussed, JRPGs and Western RPGs. This is the JRPG in that you're playing as Mario. You're playing a character that isn't necessarily you, and that's pretty typical in JRPGs compared to Western RPGs where you usually make a character. Usually, but not always.
Turn the praise. Turn-based RPG. Turn-based RPG.
Yes, turn-based RPG. There's also action RPG. There are multiple different kinds of RPGs. Just usually when you're discussing
I know.
RPGs.
Remember our conversation about JRPG?
Oh, you're right. I don't know. My next one's a Western RPG that's turn-based too. Whatever. Anyways, the genres are hard. Okay, just don't criticize us. Don't criticize us. But the reason why I love this game is because it's not hard, but it's a very simple game that does a lot of what I love. It's got a good humor. It explores the Mario world in a way like other Mario games don't. You know, we were talking about Super Paper Mario, but Super Paper Mario doesn't really take place in the Mario world. It takes place in alternate dimensions. Whereas this one has a lot of, like, Mario enemies running around, and you can, like, talk to characters that are based off of the Mario.
I can agree that they have
enemies.
different showcases. Yeah.
And you know, you get all the fun little toads with their own fun little lives that are unique to them. So it really explores the Mario world in ways that not many other Mario games really do. Even Mario and Luigi games usually take place in a different country with different kinds of people.
They belong to other kingdoms. Well, once you get to Blood Bowser Inside Story, you get
like
that.
you kind of get in Mario and Luigi, but not as much as what you get in at least the first two Paper Mario games.
I think there's an argument to be made for Mario and Luigi's games like after the first one.
Bowser's Inside Story definitely explores the Mushroom Kingdom and Mario World very well.
Yeah, I think it's just like there's an argument to be made. It's not just like a yes and no.
But I think a lot of other things this game does. One of the things I love in RPGs is customization. With the badge system in this game, you can customize Mario to play in very different ways. Now, the game is easy. It doesn't really matter how you customize Mario, which is one thing to go into. You know, there's a lot of Paper Mario fan games that make this game harder, and you can really feel how deep the customization can actually go, which is weird. It's weird that when something is like super deep, but you can never get into it. I didn't go over it in Okami, but I've been kind of going over it in the live stream of Okami. When you get to the Devil Gates, the only hard parts of Okami, and I'm showing off how deep the combat system can get, but you never see it because it's such an easy game, and that's kind of a problem with Thousand Year Door. But you know, this game also like has a lot of good humor. It's funny. Aesthetically, it's fun because when you get into battle, you're on a stage putting on a show for people, and that's a fun aesthetic that you don't often see in RPGs. A lot of RPGs kind of strike on drop the aesthetics, which isn't super important in RPGs, but it's nice when you see it. Especially with all the paper stuff and going, you get a bunch of fun paper stuff. And honestly, just everything in this game hits a lot of the things I love, which is good humor, good customization, just fun character and world.
How do you feel about the color schemes?
The colors are fantastic. I love the colors in this game.
Yeah, I'm noticing it in the video. I'm like, there's a lot of good variation in color schemes.
You can oftentimes tell which level he's in based on the colors you see.
Yep, and I think that's a big piece of it. Is ironically with Color Splash, it didn't even do this that well, but this one did, and it wasn't even based around.
Yeah, you can get a completely different feeling depending on which chapter
like, look at this.
you're in.
Like, you can tell you're in a technology area in one, and then you're back in Mario in this one because it's
there's also these
green and red
side adventures with Bowser and Peach at the end of every chapter that are great. You get these partners who are fun little characters with their own little stories and quirks that kind of drop off after you recruit them, but it's still fun.
This is why I argue, like, you need Thousand Year Door and Super to really get a full experience, because, like, those side missions get fulfilled when you play as them in the sequel.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that those two games are just, in my opinion, like, they're good by themselves. They're better with each other.
But, yeah, so this is just overall a great game. You know, it's got fun exploration. You have little secrets. It's kind of Metroidvania-esque in the way that you can use old abilities to explore well, it mostly just explore Rogueport in different ways. You don't really go to old areas with new abilities.
You usually find collectibles.
Yeah.
That's usually the goal.
And, you know, badges that further your customization. Whenever you find a new badge, it's like, ooh, what can I do with this thing? And that's always fun.
Like, what's important to keep in mind is all Paper Marios are linear. They just have exploration for collectibles.
Yes. Kind of like The Legend of Zelda in many ways, where a lot of the time it's like, when you're in the, the main overworld, there's a lot of collectibles that you can grab using the abilities you got in the side areas, but when you're in the actual side areas, it's pretty linear. just a straight
There's
gun
only
to
one
the...
actual side mission in the entirety of Ocarina of Time, and that's just the big ones.
Yeah, but there's a lot of exploration using the abilities you have, so yeah, it's there.
True.
But guess what my next recommended is for RPGs? Because I mentioned it earlier and we talked about it earlier.
Brain fart.
It's Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, good. Yes, everybody should go Baldur's Gate.
And
I talked about it, you butthead.
Yeah, well, I talked about it back to you, so we talked about it.
But yeah, no, I recommend that to everybody.
I recommend that game to everyone. That one's a great character game because you build your character, and you can pick from your party members to play as the main character if you really don't want to build your own character. But I think that's kind of lame. I'm gonna be honest. But if that's more your thing, go ahead. I'm not gonna judge too hard, just a little bit.
just got him lame, dude. Chill.
You're missing out a bit if you don't make your own character. But when you build your character, you get thrown in this world, and it's based off of D&D, which means if you've played D&D, you already kind of know how to play this game, and you already know that kind of anything goes when you play through the game. If you want to first of all, one of the characters you could start with, and he's not actually a party member. He's like the only starter character that isn't a party member. You can play as a murder hobo. And if you want, you can, and the game actually encourages you to do that with one of the starter characters, which means a character goes around murder stuff. But you could also say, like, play like a druid and use animal talking, and then every animal in the game has their own dialogue tree that allows you to talk to animals. And the amount of detail that goes into this is astounding. Maybe.
And they keep updating it too.
Oh yeah. Maybe you there are side quests you can only find with certain builds. I was mentioning the animal talking one. This is a side quest where I meet a little bird. Little bird tells me a bunch of giant eagles are assholes. Go kick their ass, get a reward from the little bird. I'm pretty sure I could go fight the eagles, and they were an obstacle in the dungeon that you have to go through, but you wouldn't get a reward based off of it. It wouldn't be a side quest. You wouldn't be helping a little bird when you do it. So, just that little extra aspect makes it nice. Just by exploring around, you can find new side quests. By doing different dialogues, you can unlock new side quests. Some dialogues are only specific to your race and class, which is one of the reasons why I really recommend making your own character, because there's a lot to the game you'll miss out if you don't have your own race and class. Because all the preset characters are party members who can join in on your conversations and move the dialogue in their own path. So by having certain party members with you, you can unlock new dialogue and have different interactions. You can do stupid stuff like loot a bunch of barrels into your inventory, take the barrels with you, and then use the barrels to make a staircase, jump over some walls that you're not supposed to be able to, and the characters inside will be like, wow, I can't believe you did that, amazing. Like, the game will acknowledge that you did something crazy stupid, and it works. And there's so many stuff like that in the game where it's like, does this work? You try it, the answer is yes. One thing somebody pointed out is that if you use, there's a spell that allows you to speak with dead, right? If you speak with dead to somebody you killed, they're going to be really pissed with you and not be helpful at all. But if you use a different spell, disguise self on yourself, and disguise yourself as somebody else, they won't recognize you. And the fact that spells can, like, mix and match in such a weird way.
Almost like a choose your own adventure.
It's very adventurous.
But yeah, no, the game is very good. It feels very lived in. very good world.
And all of this is so, I'd say it's a recommended RPG because a lot of everything you do is based on what kind of character you are and want to be, and the characters in your group and the characters you come across. You very much end up playing a role, whether you, even if you're not consciously doing it, you might find yourself, the path you take is based on who you are, which could be either somebody you're playing, or if you just put yourself in the game, who you are. So everything you do in that game, every path you take, every interaction you have,
Every move you make,
is based on the role you are.
every step you take, every breath you take, I'll be watching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why I say
game.
it's more of an RPG than an adventure game, because the adventure serves the role, not the other way around.
That's not true. They both have equal parts of addition to the game. It's an RPG in gameplay elements, but like in the world building choices you make.
But even the choices you make feel so character centric.
I mean, that's an adventurous. Yeah, but that's adventure based. Like your character growing.
I think
can be RPG and adventure at the same time.
It feels. How should I put it?
You're trying to separate these to make yourself feel better about our conversation.
When I play Witcher 3, and I start exploring the world, and finding loot and stuff, I'm not doing that because I think that's what Geralt will do. Geralt would never explore the world. He is too, like, I don't want to deal with this shit minded to explore the world on his own. So when I do that, even though I'm doing that not as an RPG. I'm doing that even though it's an RPG game. I'm doing that as an adventure that I want to do that's separate from the RPG.
Right, but what would your character do with a crab?
Well, what would your character do with a crab? Maybe that's part of the RPG thing, though. Like, if your character wouldn't do nothing. Yeah, maybe nothing. So then your decision to not find that.
So your decision to do something when your character themselves would do nothing is the adventure. That's your argument.
So if you're not role playing at that point, if your character would do nothing and you ignore the crap.
You're right. You don't always role play, even in games that are considered RPGs. That doesn't always happen.
And that's kind of where it comes into, like, if you're playing a character and you're not, I guess you're kind of right. You can separate it. You can play.
There are people that play D&D and call themselves Snugglebutt. Okay, I don't need like.
But here's the thing: Snugglebutt could be the best character if you role play him.
You're right, but he also could not.
But here's the thing: even not role playing is in a way a role play if it's a custom character.
God, Jesse, what a fucking stretch!
Oh, hold on, hold on.
The copium.
Remember how I just said Geralt's the type of guy who wouldn't fuck around and just kind of keep to himself and do his own thing and wouldn't explore the world? So somebody who would not interact with the world and would not explore and would not do stuff is a character. Somebody who just goes around murdering as he feels like is a character. Somebody, irregardless of what the plot is. Somebody who like touches everything and wants to interact with everything and is constantly turning over every stone is a character. And that character could just be you. The character could just be you.
So this seems like you're trying to get into philosophy to solve the issue that is you really want Tunic to be the most adventurous adventure game.
Shut up. I'm trying to make the differentiation. What's an adventure and what's an adventure with an RPG? What's an RPG adventure? What's a role-playing adventure?
You're overcomplicating it. That's where you're going
wrong. With genres, it gets a little messy. I'm just saying.
This is actually pretty simplistic.
And this is what I think.
There's a hefty amount. This is factual. A hefty amount of adventure mechanics in Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, it can be called. It's an RPG. You're role-playing. But you know what else you're doing? Adventuring. Yeah, you're adventuring, Jesse. You're doing a heck of a lot of adventuring. A lot of adventurous choice making. You know what you can do? You can kill a guy in one city, be like, oh, I'm going to donate to the parish in the other city. You know? You don't need to be consistent, make sense, or you can make sense and then not make sense. Chaos can reign. Because
Okay.
it's an adventure game.
Let me make it something clear. And you know what? This is my fault for not explaining it better. When I said Tunic is the adventure to ever adventure, I kind of meant it more as a pure distillation type moment. Like, you just, like, filter everything out.
Jesse. I just brought that up to like fucking poke at you.
I know.
The whole point I'm getting at here is it's Baldur's Gate 3 is about a fuck ton of adventure because it's based on D&D, which is based on adventure as much as it is role playing.
Oh, yeah.
So like
Anyways,
that's
let's
what it
move
is.
on. We don't got time to keep going. I didn't pull up Baldur's Gate on the trailer, so nobody's been looking at anything.
I was busy talking to you.
I was busy talking to you, so.
Yeah, wow, look who fucked up. So my next on the least favorite
you did.
game.
You were supposed to remind me. That was your job.
I'm not your parent.
Yes, you are. Dad.
Oh no. At 1 year old. My next least favorite game, you know, I have a hate boner for this one. Like, you know it very well too. It's Gundam Crossfire.
Sorry, Gundam. What was it?
Crossfire. It is. Oh, it's one of the worst purchases I ever made. So, story time, real quick, short story. When I was younger, and you know, they used to have the games that we play at the stores and all that shit. They had Gundam Federation versus Xeon, which was a PS2 game where you could play mission mode relatively quick. Pretty fun. This looked to be the same, except it was grittier and darker. You go to first person and do the FPS thing. And I found out as I played it, so fucking slow. Like when I tell you, as a giant robot on a small map, it took me 5 minutes to cross it.
Oh, really? You know, I've watched a little bit of Gundam, and the robots always seem so fast for their size.
Yeah, that's why I like Federation versus Xeon, because they moved around the speed they did in the series, which was pretty quick. That's without boosters. Gundam, Dynasty Warriors Gundam is obviously far faster than the series, but like the one I mentioned prior is just as fast as they needed to be. This one, they turned them, they like were like, oh, let's make it realistic. What would robots move like? And I'm like, well, first off, they wouldn't move. Don't fucking play that game. And it shows in like how boring this combat is, in that it's hard to see anything. Like there's a lot of grays and browns for color schemes.
Yeah, I'm looking at this, and the robots blend in so much.
It's not fun.
Oh god.
Yeah, you see how it's moving? It's so slow. It's so slow. But the game itself, I got like 10 missions in because I wanted to be like, okay, maybe when I get a Gundam, I'll go faster. No, I didn't. It was torture. It was fucking torture. Do you want me to do me a favor, Jesse, real quick, and put a comparison on real quick of Federation versus Xeon PS2, and just show them how fast they should move? Federation versus Xeon PS2.
Oh yeah, look at the way he's flying around. Yeah. Oh
yeah. That's how they should be moving.
Look at him zip around.
That's way better. Way better. That's how the game should have been. That's the game I played initially. This is on the PS2. That other one was on the PS3.
Ugh.
There's no fucking excuse. What a garbage game. No character stories too, because in the one we're looking at right now, you actually play as a character who could jump into missions that happen throughout the story, and like you could be there for context sensitive points in time and miss other ones, and it will impact the story. You can also build a fire squad that levels up with you, and you can use different mobile suits that you gain by completing certain missions.
and like damage is accrued to them from a mission, how it went and all that, and like what was damaged during the mission. It's just a very good game, and none of that is in Crossfire. So I mean that's basically the major issue of Crossfire. It's not a good game. It's bad. It's bad. I don't like it. It makes me upset.
All right, what's your positive game?
Crystalis.
Sorry, you're gonna have to spell that one out.
Crystalistis.
Game Boy Color?
Nope. NES.
Oh, there we go.
That is an NES game.
NES.
It's the third one down.
Yeah, I see it. Ooh, I don't think I could get decent trailers for it.
No, you can probably just get gameplay.
Yeah, I just don't. I want to stick to IGN stuff. Oh well.
There you go.
Alright, tell me about this game.
Imagine they mixed The Legend of Zelda with Final Fantasy and put it on the NES. You have Crystalis. It's got all the weird mechanical bullshit that early Final Fantasy had, where it's like mech fortresses and spaceships with fucking exploration and loadout systems of fucking Legend of Zelda, and it was really fucking fun. You're basically a robot boy. A little robot boy who buys robot swords, and he kills people. And he gains abilities, and he travels around the world, and he tries to stop an incursion from a bunch of space aliens. It's pretty great. It's a really underrated game. It's on Switch for anybody who wants to try it. It's on the NES pads.
Oh,
there.
That's free. Like, you can just grab that.
Do it. And it's got a lot of width to the game. I just think it's a very fun NES game with the adventure style, like kind of like Final Fantasy the Adventure. Sorry, the first Saga's game before it came out. I mean, there's not much more to say about this game than that. It's just a really fun mixture of two very beloved IPs at a time when it was really requested.
All right, well, that's simple, plain and simple.
Yeah.
And I think that's your tune, so now it's my turn.
Oh yeah.
Right, next I have, I got racing next. Ooh, boy.
Fucking Supersonic Racing. Say it.
Yeah,
Say
actually.
Supersonic Racing. Are you kidding me?
Sonic Racing Transformed.
Okay. Sonic R was what I was expecting of you.
You were close.
No, I was far, and I'm happy I was.
Oh, you're gonna hate my recommended. But so Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed is an interesting game. Hold on, let me pull the gameplay trailer. Because it is basically doing what Sonic does best in copying Mario, in that it's Mario Kart. It plays very similarly to Mario Kart. But I love it more than Mario Kart, because whereas Mario Kart is like, oh, let's get little Jimmy to play, Sonic All-Stars Racing is like, yeah, let's get little Jimmy to play with you, and he can play good just as well as you, and all the stages are super easy for little Jimmy, and little Jimmy gets the blue shell so he can still screw you over. This game...
What did Jimmy do to you, dude? Holy shit.
Little Jimmy didn't do shit. It was Nintendo for letting little Jimmy do shit to me. It's Nintendo's fault for putting little Jimmy in the reins. But,
really impressive.
All-Star... Oh, this is Team Sonic Racing, not Transformed. God damn it. Well, whatever. I was looking at that. I was like, why is that so weird looking? It's because it's the wrong game. Transformed makes everything not so Lil Jimmy-fied. And what I mean by that is the racing is tight and difficult, The stages can be very tight and difficult. Character selection matters in that you can kind of min-max. You can build a character. You can grab a character with their own stats, but then customize them slightly based their vehicle slightly to give them different stats. All of the different transformation modes, the land, the sea, and the air, all play differently, but still play really good.
And you can be Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes, you can be fucking Wreck-It Ralph. The character selection is amazing. You can be Wreck-It Ralph. You can be the Team 4-Star crew. You can be Diana Patricks.
Danica.
Yeah, Dianica. You can I know. Let's continue butchering her name. No, you can play a bunch of different Sega games. This is probably
like Daria Patrick.
Oh yeah, and I think this is, probably the most amount of Sega characters in a single game. I'm sure Joey knows one with more, but there's a lot.
You give me so much credit. I'm not that smart.
I know. And the different transformation modes all are very different. When you transform into the hang glider in Mario Kart, you can just kind of list left and right before you finally land. In Sonic All-Stars Racing, you turn it into a fucking plane and you go plane racing. Like, you actually plane race in this game. Complete with all the, different maneuvers you can do with that, like loop-de-loops, and all the turning is different, the ups and downs are different. And then when you get into the boat, it feels like you're in a boat because you're controlling a boat.
Because it looks like a boat.
With in Mario Kart, you just go underwater. It's no different than when you're up in the air. But in this one,
no, I 100% agree. I mean, the changing machines actually look like a different machine.
They are different. The boat handles different from the car. It feels like you're constantly jumping up and down the waves, and when you turn, you do it feels like you're in the boat, fighting against the waves and the water. So it feels different, and then
just the visual aspect.
Oh, just the visual aspect. It looks like this. Honestly, I don't know what more to say. You see it. But yeah, there are stages from all over Sega. There's a shit ton of stages. There's so many freaking stages. I think there's about as many stages as the current Mario Kart 8, but without the...
I disagree.
I think so. There's a lot.
I disagree.
Not as much, but there's a bunch. Oh, Wreck-It Ralph trailer, why not? There's definitely a lot more than base Mario Kart 8, but and I think the best example I could say about this game being un-Mario Karted is this game's items are more skill based than luck based. Like, you don't get an item and then suddenly you can take a mega shortcut and then win the game. Or, the game will... Or, you won't get, the chain chomp... the bullet bill, which will just teleport you to, from 12th place to 6th place or something. You won't get something like that. Everything needs to be aimed. This game's Blue Shell, I think, is the best example of this. In this game's Blue Shell is, the Buzz Bee things from Sonic. That Sonic enemy.
I fact-checked you real quick. Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed only has 20 stages.
Does it only have 20? It feels like there's a lot more. Maybe because it unlocks
21, if you include it. Well, I'll tell you the series, because they're all from different series. You have one from Sonic Heroes, one from Sonic Mega, one from one from Super Monkey Ball, one from Sonic Colors, one from Shinobi, one from Skies of Arcadia. That's a rare one. One from Knights and Dreams.
You can play as Boss. He's in the game.
One from Radio, one from Sonic and Knuckles, one from House of the Dead EX, Korean Mansion, what the fuck?
Yeah!
One from Golden Axe, one from Burning Rangers.
This game is the closest thing to Sega Smash Brothers we're going to get in terms of crossover.
Oh, Sega's never going to do a Smash Brothers because they're already a part of Smash. They only have one original track, so they have 20 tracks from different series, and then they have one original track, Race of Ages. So, I mean... With the DLCs, Mario Kart 8 has 96 stages. Without the DLCs, Mario Kart 8 has 50 stages.
One thing I will say about the stages in Sonic All-Stars Transform, though, is that each lap is different. Like, every lap changes the stage drastically, so it...
And I think that's a good idea.
And that almost triples it in its own way. But I think another thing about the stages that I absolutely love is that these stages can get really difficult in of themselves. Like, these stages will, like, cut you in a way that Rainbow Road wishes it could.
I mean, there are certain stages that are a little more fucky than others. If they'd actually pulled Big Blue from 64 for real, that would have hurt everybody.
Oh, yeah. Well, if we were talking about F-Zero, that's a different can of worms it did. But
well, because they have F-Zero stages. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, the game itself is amazing. With the character roster being very solid, the build being very solid, the controls being very good. Like, I do like Sonic Team Racing 2. I think this one controls better. Like, Sonic Team Racing's too safe with that.
One thing I want to... I think you cut me off when I was explaining it earlier, but the blue shell in this game, what it does is it sends out a bunch of those Eggman buzz drones, those ones that look like bees and shoot you in the Sonic games. And what it does is it makes a minefield in front of first place, which means, first of all, the minefield appears suddenly, so you can get caught off on guard. But if you're good enough at the game, you can dodge the minefield. And then the minefield stays and still affects other players. So although it does screw over first place kind of harder than other places, and it can get you a cheap shot, if you're good at the game, you can avoid it. And that's something that Mario Kart really drastically... sorry. drastically doesn't do very well. Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, if you just use a mushroom, you can dodge the blue shell. You need to have a mushroom in the first place. And a lot of people, when they get mushrooms or in Mario Kart, will do like sandbagging, where they're like hold on to their items and never use it so they can bring it into first place. Or they're like hide in the like way back so that they can get better items and then just boost to first at the last second. And the fact that the game encourages that instead of just allowing you to play good in the first place is a very bad for Mario Kart. But this game, even if you're in first place, you can, and have no items, you can skill shot away around everything. You can skill around everything. And if you're a good racer, you'll win, no matter what. You cannot get Mario Karted easily in this game. You can kind of get Mario Karted, but...
Be fair, and to defend Mario Kart a little bit, 8 did fix the problem by making counters to
it helped, shell. But you need to have the counters to do it.
Oh, like a bunch of items bad. Like if you use the lightning, you actually are immune to blue shell. Both those are immune to blue shell.
I think they reduced the effect, but it's still there, and that's still a problem. You'll still get Mario Karted real bad.
I think blue shells are important to keeping a game competitive.
Well, here's the thing:
there are certain people that are just too good.
The mine cart with the the minefield that gets laid down, dodging it still slows you down. It will still like bring first place closer to last place, even if you do dodge it. But it's not so bad as the blue shell. It's not as bad as the blue shell. So, and, the fact that the game does encourage that kind of skill more means that I like it more. I guess I'll say. Because Mario Kart is a party game first, racing game second, similar to how Smash Bros. Is a party game and not a fighting game. So...
I mean, that's only if you fall into the camp of schools that believes that games can only be one thing.
Well, obviously it's not only one thing, but, it's like, you can feel it when you play Mario Kart. You can't feel that this is a party game. This is a racing game, not a party game. Like, you can feel it when you play this. With, obviously it's got the kart aspects. You see, like, different items doing weird stuff and stuff. So it's not like it's without the Mario Kart fun and games in it. It's just less emphasized in this, and that's why I like it so much more.
I guess. I mean, I think the big thing for me is, it's the same reason why Tony would say I prefer fresh team racing. because Tony's favorite is Crash Team Racing. And it's all good reasoning. Crash Team Racing has the best turning mechanics in racing games, I think. In fact, specifically Mario, Sonic stole it directly from it. Mario Kart is still the king. No, I'm not going to say unfortunately. If anybody wanted to step up, they would have.
It's the king in the same way Apex Legend is a better shooter, is a more popular shooter than Titanfall 2.
It controls better. It has more characters. It has more selections for stages.
Oh no, this game I think controls much better than most Mario Kart games.
8? No, you're wrong. You're incorrect. You are vastly incorrect.
I think so.
I think that you just have to install devices.
Well, I don't have nostalgia for this game, so I didn't play it when it first came out. I played it years after it came out, so bite me.
I get it. I played it too recently, along with a bunch of other racing games because why not? It's okay. It falls below Need for Speed.
Well, in terms of pure car handling. Well, Need for Speed's hard to fight against when it comes to pure car handling.
Not really.
I mean, I put Mario Kart above Need for Speed on round 2.
Yeah.
Thing is, that one felt pretty good. Mario Kart 8 felt really good. Crash Bandicoot felt amazing. Everything else
I haven't played the Crash Bandicoot game. Maybe I should. Anyways, let's move on to my recommended. This is the one that's going to piss you off.
Do it.
Do it? You want me to do it? You sure?
I'm going to hit you. Do it. I'm going to hit you.
All right.
I'm going to hit you.
My recommended, and I'm only recommending this because it's a unique type of racing game. I'm recommending this on its uniqueness, not on whether it's good or not. And I also recommend this because I want more people to actually play this game instead of just ignoring it.
Oh, Jesse said.
It is Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Oh, yeah, you felt that one, didn't you?
Not a racing game, it's a Lego game.
It's a Lego game. It's a Lego game with racing.
Fucking Lego. It's a fucking Lego game.
Joey, you can have both, It can be both a Lego game and a racing game.
Minecraft is a racing game. I put a track on my game and pushed go.
Uh-huh. Listen, man, you gotta go faster on the track and race people in it. It's a racing game.
It's such a bad. I don't want to. It's a game.
Shut
it's
up.
a good Lego game.
You have to do everything on a timer in a racing fashion. It's a racing game.
Yeah, but it's a bad racing game.
That's a bad racing game.
It's bad.
I recommend this because customizing your vehicle in Nuts and Bolts really allows you to appreciate the different aspects of vehicles.
Yeah.
And can help you really appreciate. I mostly say this because there's not any other games really like it that are good, which is a problem. If there was a better game, I would definitely recommend that for this. But customizing your vehicles to such a tight and specific way as Nuts and Bolts, to do specific objectives with your vehicle, really allows you to emphasize the vehicles in most racing games, which is what most racing games are about. Not always necessarily, but a lot of them are. And statting out your vehicle by building it, and building it with a specific need or specific objective in mind, because different races have different objectives, different terrain, different vehicles that are required, and different objectives, if you want to do them fast, require different builds that are different to do. Really allows you to appreciate just the aspect of driving in of itself, because you'll be driving different things that you built, and if you build it wrong, you can still kind of control your vehicle in a way that still works. And I think when it comes to driving games, the reason why most driving games have different vehicles is because it's important to drive in different ways at different places under different circumstances, and Nuts and Bolts really shows, and obviously still go fast while doing it because you're not racing if you're not going fast. And Nuts and Bolts really helps emphasize that quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, not the best racing game. It's not, the quintessential racing game. I think for just showing off different vehicle plays and different kinds of races and different things you can do with races, Nuts and Bolts is a good one.
Play the Crew 2. Everybody just play the Crew 2. You can fully customize everything in that game. You can just drop on somebody after you've been in an airplane for a bit. It's pretty funny. Just play the Crew 2. If you're like, I want to do Nuts and Bolts because I can fully customize it, just play the Crew 2. You can play turn into a car. You play turn into a car, crush somebody. Great. It's hysterical. It's what Burnout Paradise should be. Oh, that's nutty and bolty.
I don't know. I think the Legos give you more customization than what the Crew 2 has.
Oh, really? I think that's just in your head where it's like, I have pieces that I can visually see.
Yeah.
But instead of like...
Okay, let me put it like this. This is recommended. Pieces that you visually see does make it a lot easier to use. Just for showing off. The Crew can be a little bit...
I mean, not Crew 1, yeah, but Crew 2 is actually pretty good, pretty streamlined, pretty simple to use, and very versatile in its utilization.
No.
I mean...
I just think more people should give Nuts and Bolts a try.
I mean, okay, that's fair enough. I'm just like...
You just have to ignore the first half of the title. That's all you have to do.
What is it? Share it with me.
The first half of the title is Banjo-Kazooie. You have to ignore that part of the game. Pretend it's not a Banjo-Kazooie game.
But do I play as Banjo-Kazooie?
Mod the game so that that's two different characters driving the vehicle.
Fucking Mario and Sonic.
Yeah. Mod the game to remove all the Banjo-Kazooie game characters and replace them with other people.
That's right.
And you'll enjoy the game so much more.
Oh my god. That's awful. I hate it.
I knew you would.
Okay, it's my turn. You bitch.
I haven't played the Crew 2, so I actually don't really know if it's actually better. I can only recommend based on what I know.
I know. Dude, try it. It's really good. So I'm gonna cut two of my least favorites out of the way because they're really short and they'll turn into one basically. And I only have one more after that and then I can be done with my least favorites. Superman 64. I don't need to say anything. It's Superman 64.
Just look at Proton John's Let's Play. It'll give you everything you need.
Yeah, dude, for real. It's all you need. It's super bad. It's not worth it. Don't play it. Fighting Force. What a generic fucking 3D beat 'em up fighting game. It's awful. It's not fun. It would be if you had friends, but what fucking beat 'em up isn't? Yeah, that's two of my least favorites out of the way. And so having those done, I'll finish up the least favorites and go to the favorites for this list. I just wanted to kill those two real quick. So my last least favorite game is A Dog's Life.
A Dog's Life?
Oh, Jesse. Oh, have you not heard? PS2.
Oh, yeah, PS2. You're talking about the game, not the movie, of course. Of course you would be.
Oh, man.
Oh, I saw, oh, God, I can't remember. I saw somebody playing through this game.
Dude, like, if it had enough memes, I'd be here for it, but, like, there's a dedicated fart button in the game.
Okay, well, you're talking up the game right now. Tell me what's bad about the game.
The control scenes. It's all about puzzles that are not puzzles and platforming that's not platforming. And everything comedic about it has the potential to be a meme. and it just doesn't become a meme. Like it's almost funny, and that's its crime. Is it's just not. It's an underwhelming platformer. It's an underwhelming puzzle game. It's world building that they're attempting to do in the game is meh. The puzzle, the mini game mechanics are non-existent. Pissing and shitting on people doesn't make them say anything. So it's like, why even bother? I just have a button to do it. Nothing happens. I want the comedy, damn it. It's basically the poop pickup from the beginning of Duke Forever at that point. So like, if we're gonna bitch on that, we're gonna bitch on that. Yeah, no, the game's just not good. Unfortunately, because the idea had a lot of comedic potential, and I feel like they just made their B movie into a video game. That's all I have to say about that one. I'm gonna do one of my favorites now. This is one you might not like, Terranigma.
Oh, that one's.
Jesse's not a big fan of long exposition RPGs.
No. I don't mind the long exposition. I just thought the gameplay was boring.
Yeah, like that are older, is what I was saying. So, like, Crystallis would also not be up his alley.
No, it would not, actually.
Yeah. So, like, this is an old-style RPG from the series of The Illusion of Gaia came from. Very good storytelling. Solid twists in it. World building is literally building the world, so, I mean, good world building. The combat for a top-down Zelda-like is amazing.
It's a shame the game never teaches you how to do it.
I mean, I attempted to, and then you just yelled at me all the time.
You didn't. You just told me to do combos, and there's a maneuver, but you didn't tell me how. You didn't tell me how to do anything. You just told me to do better.
No, this is what you were doing. You were doing this. You were yelling at me. I'm like, hey, dude. And then you're like, Jesse. It's hard.
Well, it's like, hey, Jesse, do a combo. I'm like, I am doing a combo. I'm mashing the combo button. Are there other combos I can do? Tell me about the other combos. You never tell me about other combos.
I was going to, but then you kept on yelling, what other combos? I'm like, Jesse, I can't. I'd be yelling if we were on recording.
Yeah, you can yell on recording. You can do that, Joey.
No. Because then it's not fun.
All I did was slide and mash the kill button, and that's all I did all throughout the game.
Like if you mash the button, you get the gem thing. If you jump and push the hit button, you get an aerial downward slide combo. If you run and attack, you get a running attack. You can also jab and then dodge and block. And those are just your initial abilities. Now, if you were this quiet during the game, instead of because the type of puzzles that they have in games like this would come are not your type of cup of tea, which is okay, by the way. Not saying it's bad to not be a fan of these puzzles.
But Joey, I also have another question. What's the difference between the dash attack and the jumping dive kick?
The jumping sidekick? It's a jumping stab that slides you. Basically,
yeah, well, that's just a forward attack similar to the dash attack.
No, run, jump, attack. Yeah. Run, jump, attack.
I'm not seeing the functional difference.
Well,
I'm seeing the aesthetic difference, but like, why would I do that?
You could jump over an enemy to do it. First off, you could also dodge any attack they are doing to you on the inception of the attack, because sometimes an enemy lets out an attack before you do. It also has a piercing ability, just like the dash attack does, but instead of being right there, stun locked, you have no stun frames.
So why would I ever do anything other than that?
Well, because the dash attack can hit multiple enemies behind each other, but it leaves you going.
also, if you have multiple enemies, one's more preferable to the other. If there's one enemy, one's preferable.
Yeah, I know.
That's why.
You could have explained that while I was playing it. Maybe I would have had more fun.
What did I just say, Jesse?
That you wouldn't explain things because Jesse was...
I would have loved to, but you kept yelling at me. You kept yelling at me, and I couldn't speak over
Clearly,
you,
I wasn't
Dan.
having any fun of the game, and you weren't taking the path in to make me have fun with the game.
I attempted to, and you kept yelling at me, and I couldn't speak.
I have to re-watch that Let's Play. It's on YouTube. Watch it.
Yeah, watch it. Watch it. Everybody watch it.
Y'all can judge for yourself whether just... I also think the dungeons are stupid.
I mean, they're old school dungeons.
Yeah.
All dungeons back then were just like that. That doesn't bug me. Like, if it's that easy to rattle your cage, then, like, I don't know. What'd you say about
bad
people?
dungeons? Yeah. Yeah.
No, hold on. What'd you say about the people at Titanfall and accessibility? Get good, Jesse. You're get good. But
I don't think that's a get good. I think this is boring and there's nothing to it.
The dungeons are fine. The fact that you need overstimulation at all times of your life is not an issue me. That's an issue you, buddy. Maybe you should examine yourself.
That's not exactly a skill issue. That's a this game is boring issue.
That's an emotional skill issue, buddy.
Oh, emotional skill issue. Sorry, I will have no opinion or emotions on anything ever. Gotcha.
I mean, the only emotion that you have.
I don't know if you were paying attention, but during the Let's Play, I started to get that attitude in the middle of it, and I stopped talking about the game and just let you and Tony start talking, and then I put the game down and never picked it up because I was bored out of my mind.
Dude, you know what's hysterical? If me and Tony played it, you probably would have been like, "How are you enjoying this? Why are you having fun?"
Yeah, I probably would be.
That's what it's about. Okay, so then obviously it's you.
But meanwhile, you're all like, oh, you hate the dialogue and world building. I never said I hated the dialogue and world building. I hate the gameplay of this. The game part of this is what I hate about this game.
I mean, I just think that, like, you got to open yourself up, maybe not to enjoy it at a first-person perspective, but maybe a third-person perspective.
Maybe.
Of just somebody else enjoying it.
That might be what I need to do.
Well, I mean, that's your Gen Z talk. You know, like, whoa, what? Play Mario, kiddos. What the fuck? Why can't I do? Like, where's my loot boxes?
I don't need loot boxes. The loot boxes suck.
I can't even dodge roll. This is garbage. I can't even dodge roll in Mario 64. This is stupid.
Dodge rolling is a part of the RPG aspect. Hey, you know what Mario games did add? They added this aerial spin, which is like an aerial dodge. So they did, in fact, add the dodge button. To the, more action-y Mario games. But you know what? Games are much better once you have that extra maneuverability. So, you know what? You're like, oh, the dodge button. I'm like, yeah, well, the dodge button would make a lot of games better. This game would be better with the dodge button.
I think maybe. No, that's not true. I think it would be, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it would hurt it, but I think the problem is like enemy placement, because of the way things move in this game, it might become a little too easy, and then you would be like, this game's too easy.
God, you sound like a boomer. Oh, this millennial, he likes things better. Oh, God, the get good stuff.
No, I said it would be better. I'm just offering an observation about that.
I know, but you're like, oh, the game would be... You were using a very dismissive tone, which saying the game would be better with the dodge roll. I'm like, yeah, well, the game would be better with the dodge roll. So you know what? I ignore your dismissiveness.
I mean, that wasn't dismissive. I just pointed out a fact.
The tone you used was very dismissive.
No, it was just this. It was I don't know, but like, there's also the possibility that something like that could ruin the game's function, because this is just on the SNES. Keep in mind.
I know, but I think ultimately for me, it's like, I don't give it excuses if it's on the SNES. You know? When I play through Mario RPG, I'm judging it on how good of an RPG it is. I don't care if it's on the SNES or Switch. And you know what? Even though it was brought to the Switch, it's still a fantastic RPG, even though it's old.
I mean, a big thing for me is just
This game, if it was brought to the modern day and left exactly as is, would not be well liked.
Yeah, it would be well liked. That's just untrue. It's actually a fan favorite in areas now, mainly because it was, first off, obviously, when we have a series that's unfinished, this is the third in a series of games that we got 2 of them. People obviously have interest, right? It's just how it is. But the game itself is just a better version of Link to the Past. Like,
Anyways,
it has more stuff in it, especially when you get later into it.
I think the Link to the Past, in comparing this, is kind of apples to oranges a little bit.
No, this one is actually terrible in terms of the gameplay elements.
The dungeons suck, and Link to the Past
The
had great
dungeons
dungeons.
in both of them are, they're both just okay dungeons, man. I don't know what your hard on is about dungeons.
You just run around a maze and grab stuff. That's it.
That's what a Link to the Past is, just block rooms.
Yeah, that's more than what this game has. I would love a block.
Arguably,
I would love a block room in this
Jesse,
game.
I'm gonna tell you what. A systematic, basic bitch level of map design is not a better map design. It's a lesser map design. When you do less for the maps because
I'm
you just
sorry,
like,
I'll take basic bitch over none at all. This game's maps have no design. They're just randomly thrown together rooms.
This is Jesse talking from like a little bit of experience with the game and no actual interest in knowledge basing for the game.
I played the game. You saw me. You were there.
I did. Oh, here you played the game. Quotation marks were used. You didn't want to enjoy it at the inception. You dictated that. Oh, I don't like this at the start.
No, I didn't. I said I was loving the game.
No, you were like, oh, I like the music.
I like the music. I liked destroying the town. Every time I destroyed the town, I was like, hey, this is awesome. I love it.
Yeah, that was it. That was all you would do. You're just like throwing shit. And I was just like, oh no. Well, I want to see where this is going.
And the game called me out. I was like, oh, well, thank you. And then when we had to restart because I didn't save properly, and I just kind of like went through it really quickly without destroying the town. The plot was different. The plot changed depending on what I did. I was like, wow, this is really cool, Joey. So, I was enjoying the beginning of the game. It was until I had to actually play the fucking game in the dungeons.
The tower dungeons? Yeah. The tower dungeons were great. The towers were awesome.
Yeah, and those were the best dungeons. It's a shame it was downhill from there because even during the tower dungeons, I was starting to get bored with the combat.
Hold on. When you initially go to the initial dungeon that you're in, you know that that's the beginning of the game and the dungeons just become more verbose as you make the world more verbose, right? That's the point of the game.
More verbose just means more boring-ass rooms with nothing in it but monsters. Boy, I'm so glad there are more monsters to mash the same button over and over again.
This would be like me never having played Mario, like Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, for example. If I had never played it and I played like a couple of
every room is like, exactly different in that game.
And I'm just like, am I just going to stay in the sewers the entire time? This is really boring in these sewers the entire time. Why am I just in the sewers in Mario 1000 Year Door? I imagine I'd be somewhere other than the sewers in Mario 1000 Year Door.
Okay, but here's the thing. I didn't vocalize my distaste for the game. I was just like, well, this combat's a little boring, but, the tower's kind of interesting. And then it wasn't until later that I realized that's all exactly the fucking same for the rest of the fucking game that I was like, oh, sorry, I'm bored out of my mind. I'm sorry.
But it's not.
It is.
It's not.
There's no difference between the dungeons. It's
Jesse, I beat the game. Jesse, I beat the game.
Well, you know what? Didn't. You know what? Maybe the game gets way better after the part I am. But to get to that part, I had to go through a lot of boring-ass shit and a lot of obscure-ass, like...
It was when they were doing story that you were bitching. When we got to story elements, you started bitching. When they were talking...
That's because that was when I stopped focusing on the gameplay and started to come back and be like... You know what? Now that we have a moment and we're done playing the game for a brief second, I could bitch for a little bit because there was a quiet moment. And you know what?
No,
this segment's going a little too long. We have to move on. I just realized that.
It wasn't. Oh, goodness. I actually have to go here in a moment.
But we're only halfway through. Yeah, you know what? It's
I know. Yeah,
You
no,
know
like
what?
we're like over an hour and a half past what I had to do. We can save the other half for later.
Yeah, we're 2.5 hours in. That's actually a pretty good live stream. So we'll save the rest of this live stream for later.
Gotcha.
Because we're exactly halfway through my list. I bet you we're not even halfway through your list. So.
And I might be hinting at playing Terra Enigma on stream.
That's good.
Well, and then I can like show you how to actually play.
Okay.
You're like, oh, what the fuck? Why did you tell me that, Joe? And I'm like, stop yelling at me, Jesse.
Well, Joey, you seem to be talking just fine, even though I'm yelling at you. So maybe that's a skill issue.
Oh, I had to learn how to yell over you. It's different.
I think it's just a skill issue. Anyways, hope y'all had fun.
Such a turd biscuit.
Hope you had fun. Bye.
Bye.